Turn to St. John's Gospel, chapter, I believe, 5, and I believe it's 43. It says he's of Jewish descent. I'll turn there to make sure. I think it's 543. St. John. Yep, 543. Tells you he has to be of Jewish descent. How does it say it?
I am come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive.
That's the Antichrist. That's saying he has to be Jewish descent. Just plain states it. If he's not Jewish descent, they wouldn't accept him as the Messiah. They accept him as the Messiah. That's the one that just blows me out of the water. They think this dude's the Messiah.
Yet they were told in the Old Testament that he was going to be born of a virgin.
I know, too.
And here he's going to walk into their world as a grown man.
11th chapter of the book of Matthew. 11th chapter of the book of Matthew. 11th chapter of the book of Romans explains that. Do you want to go there to make that clear? Romans 11. I'll have to go to find out where to start it. But it's Romans 11. Yeah, let's see. We want to see. Now we'll start. You might as well start with 11:3. You can actually read the whole thing, but start with 11:3, and we'll read down. Got to read quite a ways down here to get the whole. Okay, actually, we'll have to read clear. We have to read clear through. 20. Matter of fact, you got to read clear through 32 to get the whole of it from there. Go ahead.
Lord, they have killed your prophets and torn down your altars, and I alone am left, and they seek my life. But what does the divine response say to him? I have reserved for myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to Baal. Even so then, at this present time there is a remnant according to the election of grace. And if by grace, then it is no longer of works. Otherwise grace is no longer grace. But if it is of works, it is no longer grace. Otherwise work is no longer work. What then? Israel has not obtained what it seeks, but the elect have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. Just as it is written, God has given them a spirit of stupor, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear, to this very day. And David says...
Okay, now, I want to stop there. Why did he give them the blindness that they could not see, ears that they could not hear? We've studied that, and it told us that in the book of Deuteronomy. Why?
Because they don't want it.
Because they refuse to listen. Okay? So when they refused to listen, they read it, didn't understand it. They could quote it to you and have no clue what they said. That's what he's stating as it goes on. This is what it's stating.
And David says, let their table become a snare and a trap, a stumbling block, and a recompense to them. Let their eyes be darkened so that they do not see, and bow down their back always.
Okay, now he said, this is David making this statement now. God, he said they're so dense and so hard-headed. Give it to them. Give it to them the way they're asking for it, okay? Now, mind you, this is why all what we're reading is happening. Okay, go ahead.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? Certainly not. But through their fall, to provoke them to jealousy, salvation has come to the Gentiles. Now if their fall is riches for the world, and their failure riches to the Gentiles, how much more their fullness?
Okay. Now you get why God said that all these things are going to be happening and why it's important? Would we been given the same opportunity they had without their blindness? Answer's no. So inside of God's plan, He knew their bullheaded stubbornness, belligerency, and so He gave option to everybody through their blindness. So what we're reading over here in the book of Revelation is told about right here in this chapter and explained. This is back to God filling in a concept of God with a precept. Okay, go ahead.
For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am an apostle to the Gentiles, I magnify my ministry, if by any means I may provoke to jealousy those who are my flesh, and save some of them. For if their being cast away is the reconciling of the world, what will their acceptance be but life from the dead? For if the first fruit is holy, the lump is also holy, and if the root is holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches were broken off, and you, being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them, and with them became a partaker of the root and fatness of the olive tree, do not boast against the branches. But if you do boast, remember that you do not support the root, but the root supports you.
Isn't that awesome, though, the way this is being stated? As we're studying the whole in the book of Revelations, this is explaining why and how so much of the book of Revelations is happening. Okay? In actual explanation. Okay.
You will say then, branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in. Well said. Because of unbelief they were broken off, and you stand by faith. Do not be haughty, but fear.
Okay. Told you now. Because of what? Unbelief. Unbelief from the beginning to the day they crucified Christ. That's who, when he read over here, where I started you, right at the beginning, about the prophets, and there was only one left, it was talking about Christ using Elijah as an example. But speaking of Jesus himself. Okay.
For if God did not spare the natural branches, he may not spare you either. Therefore consider the goodness and severity of God. On those who fell, severity, but toward you, goodness, if you continue in his goodness. Otherwise you also will be cut off.
Okay. Now that's just about as plain as it gets. If you continue, you're in good shape. But if you don't continue, you're going to what?
Cut off.
Get cut off. Go ahead.